Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another week of Crunching Your Growth. I'm Phil Masiello and your host. And today we've got Pasha Knish, founder of AMZ Optimized, a seasoned Amazon seller with more than 13 years of hands on experience building, scaling, and exiting brands. So we're coming right off Prime Week last week. And this is the perfect time to unpack what really happened, not just the deals, the discounts, the sales spike, but what it means for e commerce brands trying to grow profitably in a much more competitive marketplace. Amazon's changed a lot over the past year: seller fees, advertising costs, inventory, strategy, competition, tools, AI, customer behavior, et cetera, et cetera. So, Pasha, this is what the guy does. He studies Amazon. He sends out emails every day. If you don't follow him, get on his list because he's pretty much sending out great emails every day. He's lived it from every angle. He's a seller, a brand builder, an agency leader, so he understands it. So let's bring him in and let's have a conversation. I think you'll find it very fulfilling. So, Pasha, welcome and thank you for taking the time to come on. I really
Thanks, Phil.
appreciate it.
Yeah, happy to be back on. Let's
Yeah.
chat Amazon. Everything's changing so fast, right?
Everything's changing. That's why I wanted to have you on because we had Prime, essentially Prime Week. I mean, we can call it Prime Day, but it was 4 days, and it really lasted about 5 days. So it really had an impact, I think, from everything that I've seen, experienced from our brands that we manage and things like that. So I wanted to get your perspective on what you really saw last week happen and what you think from a consumer perspective. What do you think that tells us about what's happening now?
I have my little corner of the market with the portfolio that we manage, and it might be different across catalogs, but I'm starting to have this general sense that people are starting to expect Prime Day, Prime Week, all of these events, and that's changing how things work on a grand scale with brands on the internet having to almost mimic the same discounts, right? Like you can't have a higher price on your website than you do on Amazon.
Right.
If you're like a pretty prominent Amazon seller, you sort of have to match it on your site. And if everybody's doing that, it becomes like a shopping holiday in the United States. And now people have become groomed in a way to expect it, so they have this habit of holding it in their cart until the Prime event and then buying it. Whether or not they're going to have a discount on it, they'll roll the dice if it's like a big purchase that's not really urgent. Like had my eye on a miter saw for construction, and it's like a $600 saw, and I'm like, why am I going to buy it now? Let me just hold. I don't need it today. I can wait a couple weeks. And yeah, I just held it in the cart, and of course there was no deal on it, but I bought it anyway. And it's funny because they actually did lower the price even before the event, so people are trying to play with it like it's a game. And ultimately, what I'm seeing is, yes, there's an increase in sales, but there's a decrease before, and then there's a decrease after. And so the net implication is really balanced out from my perspective. Like I don't really see anything that is extraordinary about the event in that sense. Like it's always exciting to see a lot of sales come in at once, but as long as you're able to ride the momentum with the inventory levels and you play your cards right, there's probably some net positive benefit to it just from the ranking perspective. But overall profitability and growth, I'm kind of on the fence. Like I'm not really convinced that it's such a great thing.
Yeah, that's a great point. One of the things that I told our clients is that you really have to look at June and July combined, your sales, your profitability, versus just looking at what happened during Prime Week, because you're right. Before, sales are slow, right? People are doing things like putting things in their cart but not checking out, waiting for Prime Week, and then after, there's sort of this lull. So you really have to look at it in terms of that period of time, June and July, because last year you're averaging against last year. Last year, Prime Day, Prime Week, whatever you want to call it, was in July. This year was in June. So you've got this bleed over. So in my opinion, you really have to look at both of them together. Um, but I thought the interesting thing was that I read a statistic, don't know if it's true or not, but I read a statistic that Amazon, Walmart.com, and Target.com, well, Amazon in particular got about 62% of all e commerce sales that week. and Walmart and Target combined with Amazon got over 80% of total e-commerce sales that week, which I thought was, I don't know, astounding. The other thing that I noticed from our clients is that people bought a lot of like staples. They started buying like home textiles, for example, sheets, pillowcases, etc. And my take on that is that they're anticipating going back to college or kids going to college in August and
Right.
buying now for that. Um, I
Yeah,
don't know. Any did you see any trends that
yeah, but that's kind of the thing that I'm seeing is like people are starting to plan for it, right? Like people are thinking about what they're going to need in 2 months and 3 months because they're starting to incorporate that into their annual purchasing habits. And it's become a thing that is just sort of baked into society at this point, and people already know like Amazon is the dominant force, they're going to have the best price.
yeah,
So I'm expecting to see that number increase more and more. Generally speaking, like again, like I'm trying to decide whether it's a positive thing or not. I think that having these peaks and valleys happening in the market could provide instability, and for some people that don't have the ability to maybe lower the price by 20% to participate because it'll just kill their margin, but they're sort of forced in order to stay relevant and be, in the game. That's a negative thing. Like I've had an experience, not in this Prime Day, but previous ones where a client of mine, they said, "I'm sorry, we really don't want to participate. We couldn't make them do it. They didn't want to participate. They didn't set up any deals." And we said, "Oh, that's fine." But then their competitors overtook them on the organic ranking during that period, and we
sure.
noticed a big shift afterwards where their competitor just started to dominate. And I kind of do say, well, maybe we should have ran the deal. If you didn't make or even lost money during that period, in the long run, it's a part of the ecosystem now, and we just have to live with it. But I don't know if it's a great thing. Like I kind of wish that we didn't have this madness.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree with you. I think that we've sort of gotten into this frenzy, and it's almost like people are now um, waiting for it, anticipating it, treating it almost as it's starting the holiday buying season earlier, I think. And I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. From a profitability standpoint, I mean, I watch a lot of people that, well, a lot of brands that sort of play with uh, their their numbers, but they're not really calculating the profit correctly. Like they look at the growth, they look at what they're spending, but then they don't take into account all the other things: shipping in, shipping out, long-term storage fees, short-term storage fees, etc., to see if it's even profitable to do. I'll tell you, we had a lot of clients that didn't want to participate, and we sort of said, look. You can not participate, but I think you need to do something, right? From a from a perspective of the customer, even if you put the items on sale, don't participate necessarily in the Prime Day deals, but just put your items on sale for that week. And we do advertising off Amazon, whether it's on Meta or whether it's on Google or whatever. At least you'll get sales out of it. At least you'll be part of that frenzy, and you won't lose your ranking because you'll get sales out of it. But you're 100% right. There are other things, other factors at play.
Yeah, yeah. Ultimately, profitability is what we care about, but the longevity of the business is equally as important, and it is the way that the market works now. So I think from a consumer point of view, it's a great thing. You're getting an opportunity to get a product at a potentially loss for the business, right? You can just take advantage of that, knowing it, and sometimes that's the answer. Like knowing what I know, I can always tell if it's like a Chinese listing or whatever, and roughly what products cost to manufacture, and then you incorporate all those fees that you mentioned and tariffs and whatnot. And I see products on Amazon that sometimes I buy when they're running like a deal, and I know that they're losing money.
Yeah.
There's no way that they can make money selling a heavy metal object for 7.99 or something like that. But
Yeah. The shipping alone is gonna take over that.
it's impossible. Yeah. So from a consumer point of view, I think it's a good thing. But I'm on the side of like helping clients to manage the frenzy, and that could be sometimes very stressful for everybody, and you just end up burning through inventory that you really need. And that doesn't even get us into talking about like the fourth quarter prime stuff.
Oh yeah.
That's even more crazy because it goes on for longer, and it kind of leads into the fourth quarter sales period where you have another cocktail of issues. Amazon doesn't accept inventory as fast, and you can burn through your inventory at a loss and then not be able to restock for the fourth quarter sales and Christmas sales. And then you lose the momentum coming into quarter one where sales are typically lower again, and that can just start you off on the wrong foot. So it's a tough one. It's tough.
Yeah, it's a good point. um, I'll tell you, we have one client who was in the electric shaver world, and it was brutal last week because their discount just did not stand up against what some of the other big guys were doing. I mean, Braun had a their Series 9, which is their flagship product, out there at a $200 discount. So it was almost 50% off. Philips, Norelco did the same thing. So did some of the other ones, and it was amazing to me how big some of the discounts were this time. I think bigger than they have been in the past for some of the larger companies that sort of can absorb it. And I was trying to think about why, you know, I don't understand their economics. Obviously, I don't know what it costs for them to build their product. I know what it costs for us to build our product. I don't know what it costs for them. And I was just trying to figure it out, thinking how much, what's the benefit of moving that kind of volume if you don't have that recurring purchase like you do with some other items. So, for example, I could see um, like Gillette dropping the price of the new 5 blade, because people are going to come back. They're going to buy 5 blade blades. They're going to come back monthly and they're going to buy. And you could say, okay, well, the long term value, whether it's on Amazon or whether it's off Amazon, the long term value of doing that big discounting, I could see that paying off. But I just can't see it in some categories. It just doesn't. It doesn't make sense, because when you buy sort of an electric shaver, you're not changing those blades monthly.
Well, still, I mean, like they're trying to get their name out. I guess when it comes to like really large brands, legacy brands like that, for them, any kind of exposure, any kind of sales is ideal. And I think that the larger brands are the ones that are much better positioned to absorb any of these types of
Yeah.
loss marketing. Like, they're the ones that are running TV commercials and doing all of these like very top of funnel type, like loss leader type marketing. Whereas like Amazon is supposed to be the marketplace for the third party, the small mom and pop, the small seller. I'm a big advocate of for the small sellers. That's why I love Amazon, is because it gives them a platform where they can even stand a chance against these big players. And so again, Amazon does this thing, and everybody I think in the Amazon space sort of has this love hate relationship with Amazon, and that's the thing. It is, it's like they're squeezing the small guy. It's the same old story over and over again. They squeeze you with the fees, then they squeeze you with the discounts, and it's more and more. And the only people who could really survive are the big players. The small fish get eaten by the big fish, and that's human nature. It's the nature of the world, and that same system repeats in the economy of e-commerce and marketplaces. And that's just like you have to kind of like stomach the wins.
Yeah, that's a good point. Everybody I know in the Amazon space has a love-hate relationship with. I mean, people talk about how great it is, but at the same time, they all hate the fact that, like you said, they nickel and dime you. I mean, they've changed the way that they pay. They've changed the way that you pay for advertising. They've changed um, short term. They've got long term storage fees, but now we have, if you don't have enough inventory, you get,
Short term.
your short term. You get, I mean, it's just amazing. It's constant. You almost need an accountant to focus on Amazon every day if you're doing any kind of volume, which is sort of difficult to do for a lot of small companies.
Yeah, and so we have solutions, as I'm sure you do for a lot of these things. Like we have software and people and systems, and we've worked it all out. But working with us isn't the cheapest thing in the world, and I feel bad for a lot of these small sellers that like I talk to. I offer like a scorecard session, and a lot of small sellers, they claim that it's free, and I don't really get anything out of it. I just want to, help people and maybe build a relationship for something in the future.
Sure.
And I feel bad to just kind of send them back into the battlefield and just say, well, you just good luck. You're kind of on the right track. Here's what I do, and send them back in. But it would be nice if there were some kind of easier solutions to manage some of these things. And a lot of the software isn't really cutting it, in my opinion, for being able to kind of handle the right way to look at the economics and give you the right suggestions. And that's anyone out there wants to build like a good software solution listening to this for that. I think there's a huge potential, and a lot of people are trying it. I see a lot of reporting and data tools. People are trying to jump on the AI bandwagon and be better at data crunching and showing the interconnectivity between the inventory, the profits, the ads, the other marketplace signals, and everything. But it's just so hard to get it right and make it work across all the different verticals that exist. So, yeah, that's something that we're trying to solve for every day, is just making it more accessible to people.
Yeah.
Because it's true. Like you need to be so on top of your numbers, which requires so much like human intervention and attention.
Yeah, absolutely. So we mentioned, Prime Day coming up in October. So what's your take on that? What do you think that is going to happen there from based on what we just saw?
Yeah, like more of the same, but longer. And what I recommend for sellers is be ready with stock. Have
Yeah.
stock, and there's some partners that we work with that even like they have pre-booked appointments throughout all of quarter four, and it's nice to partner with guys that can get you in if you can't do it yourself or if you're kind of delayed. But inventory is king when it comes to all of these things. So if you're willing to bite the bullet and take a hit on profitability that month for the sake of growth, make sure that you have enough inventory way ahead of time, not just for prime deals, but also for the aftermath, because it just segues right into that fourth quarter frenzy and people start doing holiday shopping and Black Friday and all of that. Um, Inventory is everything.
Yeah, it's a good point. What I do see, as much as we try to get brands to focus on planning ahead of time, usually like right after we try and do a recap right after to focus on what we're going to do next year, because I see too many times brands, especially SMBs, small to medium sized brands, they tend to wait until the last minute, and then it becomes a frenzy and a panic. And I think that if you can plan out ahead of time, like you said, your inventory, because it's not just getting your inventory to Amazon, it's also getting your inventory from wherever, from your manufacturer to you. And when you have to do things like air freight it in, it just adds cost. And or if you have to like book trucks at the last minute to get it from your warehouse over to Amazon, it tends to be very costly. But if you can start planning ahead of time and know, like you said, pre-book appointments, get your product in for fourth quarter. That's one of the biggest problems we see with sales in the fourth quarter dying, is when people run out of inventory too soon. They run out of inventory in October, and it's really difficult to get anything into Amazon in November, December, if you can at all.
That's the biggest takeaway from this conversation. And I see it time and time again. Again, I get on these scorecard calls and people are like, I have this 4.7 rating and I really want a 4.8. Like, I really think that's going to change my business. And it's like, oh, yeah, I also lost the buy box entirely because we ran out for 2 months. And no, that's the thing. Like, inventory is something that you plan so far behind. It's not sexy. It's not conversion rate optimization with infographics. It's not what do I do with my PPC keywords. It's simply having the stock to sell in the first place. And that's something that people miss out on a lot. They don't understand the relation of how stock over time sends a signal to Amazon. Like, think about Amazon, right? It seems like they have infinite warehouse space, but it isn't. It's an
Right.
actual physical location with physical capacity. And so when you're sending your product into their facility, it sends a signal to them, hey, we got to get this stuff out of here so we can get more inventory in, because their business relies on that. So when you're sending in a lot of inventory, and of course you're supplying the right amount of momentum, traffic, and visibility to the listing, Amazon will work with you. Like, it's all a thing that works together. Of
Yeah.
course, you can't just overstock them and then pay the long-term storage fees, and a lot of times they'll put caps on you now to even how much you can send in. But if you can show them that you're consistently sending in what you should, and you can consistently bring attention in the form of good conversion that clearly explains your listing. So these are all things, fourth quarter readiness. It's like get your listing dialed in, look at your reviews, get everything set up, get your advertising right. What does that mean? Keywords that are not working, shut them down. Keywords that are working, run video ads, run more ads on the things that are doing well. It's like quite a simple formula. And then send the inventory in, make sure you have it, and be consistent about it. Send in batches every week if you need to, right? These are all the things that are important in order for you to kind of be successful in this area before you even start looking at fancy things like DSP or TikTok marketing and all of this stuff that you can pile on top of it.
Yeah, no question about it. Yeah, everybody wants to be on the DSP, and it doesn't necessarily make things better if you, like you said, if you don't have the foundation built correctly. I find Amazon video ads, especially if you can do it, if you can afford to do it on Fire TV, because there's a lot of ways to get onto Fire TV without going through the demand side platforms. And do it. I think the video ads are highly effective. I mean, have been for a couple of years, more so than I think just straight up search campaigns, but that's just what we see. Um, yeah. So, what about what do you think the implications when? Here's something that I've been thinking about based on what I said before. If you look at what happened last week, and if the number is accurate, if what um, these analysts have said is that Amazon was 62% of all e-commerce sales last week, and then you add on Walmart.com and Target.com, and a couple of others, you wind up with over 80% going in that direction. What does that mean long term for e-commerce sellers that are just selling on their website or, you know, on Amazon, but not necessarily pushing it, right? We have I know a lot of people, a lot of brands that are on Amazon, and if they get an order, they're happy with it, but they're really trying to push their website. What do you think the implications are for that?
I think that's a very interesting point. I mean, there's a bit of a monopoly happening, and I know that Amazon has gotten some lawsuits over that, right? Like that's just what happens when you're that good. Like they've been consistent and they're offering the best rates on the internet, and they'll penalize you if you're not the best rate. You'll lose the buy box and somebody else will take your sales, or there will be no buy box. So they're very good at what they do of just dominating, and that's just what's going to continue to probably happen. Is Amazon is going to continue to consume the market. I think Walmart stands a pretty decent chance, but we all know that it's not enough. Amazon has been in that space way longer. I think that there's probably some other angles that other competitors can come in with, but it's just so convenient to have that one day, same day shipping, best rate on the internet, constantly deals happening. Like it's hard to beat.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. The thing that everybody misses when they say, and we've been listening to the Walmart thing for years, like, oh, Walmart's going to overtake Amazon.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is, Amazon has something that nobody else can replicate at this point, which is, I believe the last number I saw was 92% of the American buying public has the Amazon app on their phone. It's the first place they go to,
Wow.
right? Because of what it represents to them, which is fast shipping. I can get the product. They hear about a new product. The first thing they do is they go to Amazon to see if it's there. If it is, they buy it there. A lot of different reasons why, trust issues, get it next day, same day, whatever it is. And Walmart's just never going to be able to replicate that. Target's not going to be able to replicate that. It'll take decades for them to be able to replicate that. So in essence, Amazon has the customer locked in. And when you have the customer locked in, when you're the most convenient, it's very difficult to replicate. Something happened yesterday, and I was thinking about Amazon, and I don't think that it will affect Amazon in the same way. Starbucks app went down yesterday, the pre-order app. And what happened was customers chose to not get coffee or to get it from somewhere else, not stand in line at a Starbucks. So they're Starbucks customers. They're using the app for the convenience factor of ordering their coffee, running in, or just going to the drive-through, picking it up and going, right? But when the app fell apart, they chose to walk away. And I started thinking about Amazon and thinking about the fact that if the app goes down, would the same thing happen to Amazon? And I don't think it would, because I think people would then just get on a computer and do it, or, find some other way, or wait, because it doesn't, what it told me was that Starbucks is built on convenience. The product isn't really what's keeping them there. The
Yeah.
the brand, the product, that's not what's keeping them there. It was the convenience factor. And Amazon has the convenience factor, but Amazon also has the products. And people shop for different reasons on Amazon. What
No,
do you
they got it all. I mean, that's exactly it. You don't go to Starbucks because you say, "Oh my God, their coffee is just incredible." No. Like if I had like a nice local roaster over here that I can go to, I'd much prefer a nice barista to. But you go to Starbucks because it's on the side of the highway and you need it,
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
on a long road trip or whatever. Different reasons. Maybe somebody really likes Starbucks frappuccinos or whatever they do. Honestly, I don't go there a lot, but I don't think the same thing will happen to Amazon because they've already been so deeply integrated into the way that we think about purchasing, into like the consciousness of the American public and probably the global public at this point, because it's in so many marketplaces. It's revolutionized logistics, in my opinion. It's done a tremendous amount. And then you think about, yeah, they have Prime Video and they have all these other things. Like Amazon is always developing in other areas. Like we don't even realize how big of a business their cloud services,
Oh, yeah.
AWS. AWS is hosting like half the internet. Like we don't even realize how they are the infrastructure for so many things. Such an important company, and what they offer is so like sticky, right? Like imagine Amazon did disappear. Like how difficult would that be? You would have to enter your payment information everywhere. You would have to, trust all these people to deal with your returns and yeah, I mean, like you can just walk into UPS and just throw your open box pack of underwear on the counter at UPS, and you'll get the money into your account as you're walking out the door, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the experience is seamless. Or like you just talk to chat on your phone and just be like, hey, this product arrived or didn't arrive, and whether it did or not doesn't even matter. They'll just give you the refund. Like
Yeah.
I'm sure there's people who are probably know what the threshold is to just report stuff as not arrived, even if it did, because they know that they'll just get a refund for it. Unfortunately, there's all kinds of people out there, I'm sure, but like I just when I go through that process, I just think to myself, it's so easy to scam them. But for them, they already have their numbers so figured out that it's worth it to have that convenience and that like they've really like taken taken the whole customer experience thing to such a science and like perfected it so well. And I think that's why everybody loves it so much. Like Walmart is the opposite. I go to Walmart and I'm like, man, they still on purpose they do it. I still can't do tap to pay. I don't take credit cards anywhere. I leave my car, I have my phone and my car keys. That's it. That's all I take.
Yeah.
And because I can just take my phone and tap on the thing and it'll always take payment. Walmart, I don't know if this is all Walmarts, but the couple that are around me, they don't take it. Why? Because they want you to use the Walmart Pay thing, right? Which is like they want you to download the app. They'll give you the Wi-Fi in the store if you don't have it. Connect your credit card, and then you can pay wirelessly. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you need to have the card. And so they make it less convenient for their own benefit, which I don't
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. I think, yeah, Walmart. I'm not. I've never been impressed with Walmart. I can't stand it when people do the comparison and say, "Well, Walmart, did whatever it is, $600 trillion in sales, and they're going to beat Amazon." And you go, "Well, you don't understand what Amazon is." Just like you said, Amazon is not just Amazon.com. Amazon is AWS. Amazon is Audible. Amazon is Prime Video. Amazon is all these other pieces um, that people don't understand that are the backbone. And Walmart doesn't have any of that stuff. Walmart doesn't have the same, neither does Target. They don't have the same connection with the customer that Amazon has done. And Amazon has essentially built a moat around their business by by capturing the customer, because like you said, they make returns easy. They make getting in touch with them easy when you're a customer, not so much when you're a seller, but when
No.
you're a customer, they make it easy. They make it easy to return things, to rebuy, to do all kinds of stuff. You don't feel bad about having your payment information in Amazon, but you do. Like, I'm always hesitant to keep my payment information on file with anybody.
Mhm.
But we do it with Amazon. We don't care because it's easy to do. Well, I mean, they even make ordering easy just with one click, and so it's simple. So
Yeah, and they've taken over the, like, they have this whole department with multi-channel fulfillment. Like, I've
right,
met the people that are working full time for multi-channel fulfillment as a department, and their sole job is to go to in-person events, meet every single vendor business possible, and convince them to, and give them incentives to try to put multi-channel fulfillment into their business, into their brand, and have that button on the website at the checkout process. And many people use that because the same reason. I have a website, but people prefer to shop on Amazon, so we'll merge the two together, and you can just check out on Amazon with the security and the seal of approval. And so they're slowly taking over e-commerce. Like, we're watching that happen. There's no other competitor can that can step in at this point because they're already so far ahead. And I agree, like, Walmart's probably the closest, but their business model is totally different. Like, people go to Walmart because they have a lot of stuff that you might need at odd hours or at an immediate level. Like, I need this yesterday and I can't even wait a day to get it. And Amazon will close that gap too eventually with, like, drones that send stuff to your house, like, within 30 minutes or whatever. So,
yeah. No, it's a big motivator. I mean, and the other piece is that I thought was really, really smart of Amazon, and they did it a few years ago, is allowing your kids to get on your Amazon account. So like my kids at college, right? They're on our Amazon account. So if they want to buy something, they buy it. Of course, I'm paying for it, but they can they can order it, right? And so it enables them to be able to get what they need. Because if it, rather than calling me up and saying, I have to buy this for school, or I have to buy this, or I need this, it's easy for them to just get on there and then get the phone call from me going, "What the heck?"
I'm sure they have a second Amazon account, like, on the side.
Nah, nah, nah. That would be their own credit card, and they're not going to do
Exactly.
that.
They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't
They,
do that yet.
they don't want to spend their own money. They save that for going out with their friends. But I think Amazon has done a tremendous job. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens throughout the rest of the year, because with all of um, the rising price of fuel, the tariffs, all these different things are affecting how consumers, in my opinion, how consumers are sort of making purchase decisions. And what I saw from this last Prime Day, and it'll be interesting to see if that carries forward into October, is people buying a lot of essentials, a lot of the essentials that they need versus things that they want. Um,
I think
and the things that they want were marked down. I mean, you look at what do you call it? Dyson did with they have that professional hair dryer that women love, but it costs like $500, and they had it marked down to, I think, $230.
wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was for Prime Week, and the same thing with some of the vacuums and some of the other things they did. I mean, so I think, in my opinion, I think they saw that people were going to load up on the essentials and not so much on the things that they really wanted. So they wanted to get those products out there. So they marked them down. I think the same thing happened with electric shavers. Same thing happened with television sets. I mean, Best Buy was selling television sets on Amazon. And that's also another interesting dynamic that's happening, is other retailers getting onto Amazon to sell product, because we have grocery stores, local grocery stores, that are selling their product on Amazon or fulfilling, orders from Amazon next day for food and things like that. Not just Whole Foods.
It just comes full circle, kind of what we were saying in the beginning. People are expecting it. It's baked into the way that they plan. And Amazon has made it easy just with the app itself. I've noticed that there's been little changes, but they make a huge impact. I don't know if you're seeing some of these, add to tomorrow's delivery button, right? The nice blue button that everybody loves to press, because it just makes it, if it wasn't easy enough to hit the buy now and then approve, now it's one less click. It's just
Yeah.
boom, it's coming tomorrow with all the other stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. Like, you have the stuff that frequently bought, right? Or buy again. And you go to that section and you can filter for prime deals.
Yeah.
You can see everything that you've bought, all the toothpaste, toilet paper, all that stuff. You just add it to tomorrow, right? It just makes it so easy. And these are all essentials, because that's the stuff that we get on subscription are essentials.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, I mean, if you're selling an essential product or a consumable product, it's a no-brainer to participate because sales will increase more than anything else. But then, yeah, same thing with the big ticket items. If you can do a huge discount, same, like, people will hope, they'll cross their fingers that they'll wake up on Prime Day and the thing in their cart is now discounted by 50%. Just save $100 for waiting a week.
Hey, $100 is $100.
Yep.
Um, what? Let me ask you this question: Are most of your clients resellers or brands?
They're all brands.
They're all brands. Yeah, that's what we do too. I get a lot of inquiries from resellers, a lot more than I've ever gotten in the past for help because I really feel like resellers of commodity products like toothpaste, like essentials, like Listerine, and there's a lot of guys out there doing it. I don't think that they can make money anymore. I just don't
No,
see how it's possible.
no.
Brands, I think, are under enough pressure, but when you're a reseller, obviously these guys get sold a bill of goods by some of these online courses, but the reality is, I don't know if you can make money as a reseller.
Me neither. I don't believe in that model for a long time. I think it's a very high volume. Like, maybe if you have like exclusivity, if you have a special license that nobody has. But most of these like big names, where you're one of the 40 offers and it's just a race to the bottom. I don't want to participate in that. I don't.
Right.
I don't really see a big opportunity there. So that's why we focus on private brands. We have control over the buy box. We have control over the trademark, the content, the advertising. There's When you have control, then you have an option. And even then, like you said, it's very hard. But at least there's room.
Yeah. I think that there's one company that's fairly large that sells on Amazon. They've been selling for years, and I remember I met them years ago. I can't remember the name of the company now, but if I said it, you would know it. Um, Pharma Packs, and I remember meeting those guys, years ago when they were doing like I think they did like 4 or 5 million in sales and didn't make any money, and they're tied to a wholesaler. They're tied to a wholesale distributor. So they're getting sort of really good pricing. And it wasn't until they hit a threshold of like 10 or 15 million that they started to make money. Obviously, there was some money on the back end because, the more volume you push through, there's more incentives for the wholesaler. But now I think they're doing, I think the last number I saw was like 200 million or 250 million.
Wow.
But they're reselling commodity goods and they're tied to a wholesaler, so they get preferred pricing. But even then, they're still struggling. I mean, what good is doing 250 million if you're dropping, 1.7 million to the bottom line? That's a lot of work for, I could, if you're gonna, if I want to build a $250 million business, I'm expecting, 25, 30 million to the bottom line. Not, I don't want to be scraping for 1.5 million because what that
Yeah.
says is one wrong move and you're done. You're not
Yeah.
making any profit.
Yeah. You're so close to zero that it's very dangerous.
Yeah,
Because
extremely.
one wrong move and you can be negative 2 million, 3 million.
Exactly, exactly. And it's very easy to make those mistakes and those wrong moves. No, I agree with you. I'm more of a believer in building brands or having controlled brands to do it. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think everyone should aim for at least a 20-25% profit margin on Amazon if you can get there. And if you can't, then find new products.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, you're right. So how can people get in touch with you? Where can they find you?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if anybody's interested in the 30-minute scorecard, that's a great way to just get some immediate value and just spend 30 minutes with me for free. And I'll just kind of review your Amazon business. The way to get to that is at amzoptimize.com/scorecard. Or you can just find me on LinkedIn, Pasha Knish, or Pasha at amzoptimize.com. There's a lot of ways. So if you just type in my name online, you'll be able to probably find me somewhere.
And what's the 30-minute scorecard? Is that a private conversation between the two of you, or is that
Yeah.
like a group session?
No, no, that's just a one-on-one. I'll literally open up your listing in front of you. I'll go through a bunch of questions on the content, on the advertising, on the operations, on all the account history, and just kind of come up with ways to provide value on the call, just share my experience, what I would do, kind of dig into the business, and then that call is recorded, and we run that through our Claude system to give you an actual PDF of actionable items based on the conversation.
Wow, that's great, and that's free.
Free, yeah. amzoptimize.com/scorecard. You can just book my calendar.
That's a real quick. If you can do this in like in 2 minutes, what do you think about the change to go? Because they made such a big deal out of Cosmo and Rufus 2 years ago, and then they scrapped it and went to Alexa. What's your take on that whole thing?
I mean, it's the same thing. It's just repackaged or more integrated with their Alexa offering or whatever it is. But it's all leading to the same thing, which is just how can AI be used in order to improve the shopping experience. Like I saw a funny thing. I don't want to go off topic too much, but a friend of mine, he went into Rufus and started asking questions that were like unrelated to the product, and it was like, look, it's like free AI. It's like you don't. It was giving you like you can ask it like your math homework, and
Yeah,
Rufus.
yeah,
So it's just like everyone wants to integrate AI into the thing, but Amazon has good reason to do it. I don't think it's going to be as simple as just incorporating like a Rufus or an Alexa, but I am seeing the metrics, and it's looking like people are using it. Like
yeah,
it's good to go into a listing if you don't feel like looking for an answer. What's this? What's the specs? Like, does this work with my kitchen? Like this, compatibility questions or comparison questions. You just have the chatbot there. It's very convenient, and people are using it, and it's leading to higher conversion. I'm even seeing sponsored placements from the Alexa shopping thing. Like, we're building a piece of software right now that is helping with the Cosmo. And Cosmo is something that is not spoken about as much because it's just more technical. What it really is how Amazon is switching from intent based search and shopping for customers versus keyword based. And that is a slow and kind of gradual transition. But as they collect more data, they need to connect you with what you're looking for better. And so if your offer as a seller is listing it very accurately how people can find you and get matched with you, that is not just based on keyword stuffing and is really based on like this is exactly what our product does and who it's for, answering a bunch of criteria. So we're building a piece of software that helps sellers to do that in a very easy way, like optimize the back end, the front end for all those elements of Cosmo. And our focus is more on that. And the Alexa thing, I mean, it's another one of those AI add-ons that everyone is putting on their business. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, I agree with you. I think what it taught when they made that move with Cosmo and Rufus to uh, I think when they made the initial move to intent based, you really had to think about differently about how you were building your listing because you have to look at the questions that people are asking, which is out there. You can find that, and you have to really look at how people are searching for products and what questions they have about products, and it also affects I think your website and how you want to build your website because whatever you want to call it AEO search whatever you want to call it AI based search whatever it's happening ChatGPT has built a module to link up with Shopify. We're in the beta for running ads on ChatGPT. I will say it's very expensive to me. It's really expensive, but we do see traffic and we do see sales going to websites from some of these search engines. Not so much from Claude, but definitely from Perplexity and Gemini and ChatGPT. I think Claude's going in a different direction. I mean, it happens, but I think it's going in a different direction. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with these ads that you can run on ChatGPT. Very expensive, but
Well, I'd be curious to hear what kind of numbers are we talking? How expensive is it?
it's pretty expensive. I mean, it's like it's probably 3 or 4 times what you would see on a Google ad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 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 yeah. So we
I'm
had
sure they'll bring that down over time, right? It's like one of those refining things, or not.
I think that they have to figure out you know, I think that they had the impression that they can just go out there and charge, but what they have to relate it to is your acquisition cost and the pushback, because your acquisition cost is too high. If you're selling a $60 product and your acquisition cost is $100, it's not sustainable. and acquisition costs are getting high. But when you start looking at the intent and the cost per thousand and cost per click, it's right now it's about 4 to 5 times what we would see on Google.
Well,
So yeah, it's expensive, but we're just testing it. I mean, we have two clients doing it, and we're not spending a tremendous amount, but we're going to see because it could. I don't care if you spend the 4 or 5 times if you can if it converts at a faster rate, right? If I spend $10 on a click, but it converts 50% of the time versus 5% of the time on Google, then it could be worth it. So
yeah, yeah. The numbers is not the only metric. I agree. The CPA could be other things that are factors. Like if you can scale it and make it better over time, then that's what matters. Because
yeah.
there are a lot of people on ChatGPT that are looking for products, and they're, but it's only for the free users, right? Not for the paid.
Uh, it's only for the free
Only
users.
the free ChatGPT
Yeah,
users.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, man. I appreciate you taking the time to come on. And again, if anybody wants to find you, go to AMZ Optimized. If they want to take advantage of your intelligence in the matter, they can go to AMZ Optimized front slash what is it? 30 minute
Scorecard.
or scorecard, and or they can find you on LinkedIn. And yeah, I think that's a great thing. So take advantage of it. Get on his list. Get his email every day, and I think you'll be a better seller. So
I
thank
appreciate that, Phil. It's been great talking to you today.
yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate you taking the time to come on.